Hi, I'm Jennifer Sir, owner of The Sewing Room. I'm also the owner and founder of Bonjour Teaspoon Designs, and my newest pattern is the Frannie Adventure Doll. I created Frannie in tribute to my grandmother who grew up in the 1920s. These videos will help you assemble your doll and make her the best doll she can be. Please feel free to comment below, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So now we're going to do the hair on the doll, and I'm going to use cashmere, and I just buy my cashmere sweaters at the thrift store or at the flea market, and oftentimes they have holes in them, so they're really cheap, and all you need to do is just throw them in the wash, and they're really super soft and they make great hair for dolls. So here's our doll, and we're going to start by sculpting her hair around her face. And to get different hairstyles, you can do different things. I cut a piece of the sweater that's about, I would say it was about 7 or 8 inches square to begin with. And I am going to start by pinning up here at the top of her head. So I have the little point in the middle. That's optional. It really doesn't matter. You can have the part over here, the little point kind of off center. And I want to give her finger waves. So I'm going to do just what I might do if I were setting my own hair, which is to take a bit of the sweater and make these waves as we go down her face. So the little ridges, and we're just pinning in the ridges. And I'm going to continue doing that. And I might actually, if I'm remembering correctly, in a vintage hairstyle, they had a bit of a flat part at the top, and then it comes down the side like this. They don't have ridges right at the top. They kind of start a little ways away from the part. And you're just going to continue making these waves along the side of the face, just like I'm doing now. I'm pinning them. And as we come over here, we can continue pinning that. And then she has a cute little short hairstyle. So when that happens and I want to continue the hair to go a little bit further, I might swing the fabric over here and just pin that into place over here. I'm going to tuck it under, and we might create another wave just by pinning it in place. And so now that I have the hair kind of sculpted on this side, I'm going to come over here and see what I can do for this side of the hair. I'm just going to make the same curves, same curls or waves down the side of her head. And I can actually do this, continue waving her hair around the back, which is kind of realistic. They would have done that. You can decide if you want it up that high, or we might have the waves be a little further down. Here we go. Yes. And as they converge into the back, you can see that you might have to do a little bit of sculpting in the back to make that look how you want it. So I'm seeing that she could probably use a little bit of styling at this point. And in the 20s, they might have, if they had longer hair, they might have done these little, what people call a fake bob now, which is just doing little buns or little twists at the back of the head. So we can do the same thing with our doll and just twist the hair or twist the sweater into place. And then all we're going to do is just tack that down by hand around the whole head. Now we're just going around the head and strategically tacking the hair in place. So that's what I'm doing. Just trying to find some spots where I can pin the hair down, or pin and then stitch the hair in place so it stays the same shape that I've sculpted it in. And it's pretty easy. You just take little stitches or big stitches, whatever seems to work. So that's what I'm doing. It certainly does not need to be perfect. We just want the hair to stay in place. And you definitely want to use a thread that matches. Like with these curls, I'm stitching them kind of at the front and then maybe tacking them down a little further down so that we can retain the shape. And then I just take the pins out as I go, and I'll start a new thread if this thread gets too short and needs to get tied off. The main thing to remember is to make sure when you're stitching down the hair that you go through the head, because that's the whole point of holding it on. And if you don't want her to have this little pointy thing in the front, you can tuck it under like that, but I kind of like it, or at least like a little bit of a point right there. So So now her hair is all finished, and you can see it's been tacked down. It's tacked down, and she has everything's just folded into place and sculpted around the head. She may get a little fuzzy from all the cashmere or wool fibers, in which case you can just take a roller brush and roller brush her off. But there you go. So we've now done our hair and our face, and it's time to get her dressed.